This is your daily market review for Thursday, April 20th, 2023. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at XP Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your early daily market review for April 20th, 2023. Hopefully you're having a great day. Oof, things are changing fast. I know people are getting super excited about things, but you have to keep in perspective of what's going on. The evidence in the data, the odds of a recession based on the Philly Fed, I mean, it's all increasing. Now, here's the thing that I try to keep warning people is that if you study this, and I'll just verify it if you need to, hit me up, the market is not going to bottom before the recession hits. We have not hit the recession. The data is getting worse. I suspect, again, ultimately the market's going to be choppy, sloppy, and it's a bear market. And keep that in mind. It doesn't end when everybody thinks it's going to end, right? It ends usually when everyone gives up on the market. And I've warned people about the ups and the downs in a bear market. It's extremely choppy and it's extremely choppy, and it's hard sometimes. The trends aren't very clear. And when the trends do seem clear, things actually start to flip the other way. So if you're new to the channel, please check out the Discord room. A link is in the description below. And again, the market is not closed, so I will just kind of talk about what I'm seeing and go through all the stocks as normal. So at this point, right, market's up, down, up, down. I'm telling you right now, the VIX, the VIVIX, the things that are going on in the market, very near term, seem extremely bearish. Extremely bearish. Now, I say this all the time. Chop precedes what? The pop or the flop. So keep in mind, it feels like a flop. I've said this many times. Watch the previous videos on how to pick tops and bottoms. They usually happen during what? OPEX and the first and last 3 trading days of the month, business trading days. So it is what? It is what? OPEX. Thanks, S-Money. Yeah, LRCX. Well, I might pop that one into the recap today. So as we speak, market turnover, a lot of Fed speak today. We'll see. Please follow on Twitter. Posting a lot of stuff. Trying to keep people up to date with everything that is going on. Man, there's some really bad data coming out there. Been trying to post what we're seeing. Let's talk about, maybe I'll pull up some of the things that we're seeing. I posted, again, always posting trades, updates, what we think. QQQ monthly. Riots and freaking Oracle CEO dumping $450 million. Here you go. The S&P has never bottomed before a recession, dating going back almost 100 years. Right? Philly Fed going negative has led to what? A recession. These, again, it's just compounding. Now, will the Feds cut early, get too anxious? Well, here you go. They're not pivoting yet, guys. Look at the Fed Fund futures. May contract looking like a Fed rate hike. So, if you're newer to trading, newer to the channel, please subscribe, like, hit this notification bell. Check out www.thetradingagent.com. Post a lot of content. Please sign up, join the newsletter. And on that note, let's just get into trades. What did we say yesterday? Bitcoin? Now, this is why I can do the recap now, because I feel like the evidence is just painting worse. Remember, if the market's up one part of OPEX, it's usually down the other part. So, meaning up early, down later. Down early, up later. Well, let's get back to Bitcoin then. I'm just trying to think about all the things that I have in my journal in my mind as we watch this market unfold. Bitcoin. We talked about it. It better break out over this. All right, pops, flops. Now, is it bearish? I mean, again, if you were trading this, you had to have taken profit into strength, raise your stops. You need to really hold this 28,000. That's all I can say. Oil. What did we say? Oil was going to be a problem for the Feds, but at some point, we said OPEC does not cut 1.5 million barrels if they think the economy is strong and demand is strong. Well, we hit resistance, and this is why we draw this stuff. It's major resistance, and what is it doing? Backing off. Now, this is good for the Feds. They're going to assume, but you have to remember, like, oil demand is showing you global economic activity, right? It's been weak and will get weaker, potentially. And OPEC will probably try to set a higher floor, and the fact that we have to refill our SPR. So how much downside is in oil? I don't know, but I would not go long oil. I've told people trade it, but people, ignore me. They got to go long, got to go. Again, I love all commodities. Please watch the Back to Basics series. Who wins the tech war? It's not tech. It's commodities, eventually. But here it is. It's going to be choppy and sloppy. So it's easier just to short tech, in my opinion. It's just so much easier, and then let it play out and then buy commodities, because there's birthing pains, as I call them. You don't get to the bottom in a straight line in commodities, in my opinion. They're going to base out, while other names are going to get slaughtered, like massive old legacy tech. Anyway, natural gas, chopping every day. Hey, what do you think, Dan? What do you think about natural gas? What do you think about natural gas? I think I would just watch it and leave it alone. The dollar. Here we go. Everybody thinks the dollar is going to the toilet, get flushed. We've said it's holding major support. If it gets over the 20-day, I'm telling you right now, watch out. The market could start peeling like an onion, crying everywhere. TLT, we said, is trading in a big range. Said, could it fill the gap down here, retest the range lows? Always possible, but now if it's gapping up, based on the Philly Fed data, this is a tough one. Again, I'm not trading options, not trading treasuries, just watching them. They're in a big range, 109, 103, but then there's also a bigger range within the range, right? Down into the 199 area. If bonds start screaming higher, that means the recession is obvious. And again, this is what I've said. Go watch previous recaps. I said the Feds might be stupid, and they've never navigated soft landing, but they still want to be the reserve currency of the world. And the things they have to do to get that would be what? Get the dollar acting strong and get people buying treasuries globally. Being considered a safe place. That's what their goal is. I've said this 1,000 times, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. Everyone thinks nobody's going to buy U.S. treasuries, nobody's going to buy the U.S. dollar. Guess what? Do you think people really trust the BRICS? Not yet, at least. VIX. Talked about it. Said we are at the extremes of the lows. Now, I'll say it all the time. Go check the monthly. Have you ever seen the market bottom in a bear market with a VIX in the 38 level? Hell no. I'll show you again just because it's funny. But people think the market's bottomed. I mean, I've got people on Twitter telling me stock twits. Oh, it's only bullishness from here on. It's like you are crazier than... Because again, the problem about a bear market that most retail investors don't realize is at the end, nobody's going to want to buy stocks. You're not there yet. You're just not there yet. So the VIX, talked about the VIVIX, right? Waking up. Hello. Now I know, Dogecoin, but still, this is a good sign. This is the VIX of the VIX, which might be a little confusing, but when it wakes up, the market usually gets notices. The SPY, up, down, left, right. Here we go. Gap down, wick back. Uh-oh. Keep an eye on it. That does not look bullish. And again, I've shown the monthly. You hit the 20 months and you're backing off. Same thing with the Qs. I show it every day, but I don't need to. Here you go. Pops back into the range in the 319, 320, well, I guess 318, 319. Watch the 20-day. Again, this video is being recorded before the market closes. If it closes below it, look out below because you might get a gap and trap continuation tomorrow. IWM, talked about it lagging forever. Is it going to break the trend line? Again, because think about it, IWM should be leading the market higher if it's going higher. Now, again, newer people, retail, a bunch of speculators, they don't understand this stuff. The IWM leads, the small caps, the small businesses lead the economy. Look how crappy they are. QQQ, SPY up here, not so much. Keep an eye on it. DIA, chopping at the range highs, making lower highs. That's kind of a little scary. Gold, now again, gold should outperform. It should hold up, but it also could get slapped if the market gets in liquidation mode. Personally, I think at some point I'll buy gold later on dips. That's all I really can say. Silver should lag because what? Silver is considered an industrial metal. It's, JP Morgan manipulates the crap out of it. I love silver for the long term. I've been telling people for years, please buy physical on discounts. Well, here you go. Holding up near the range highs. Do I personally want to buy it? Again, I'd rather own physical. I just the whole idea of owning paper, if the market gets really nuts and the economy, not the economy, whatever, the economy doesn't matter. If the markets get really riled up, I don't want to own them. GDXJ, we've talked about miners disengaging. Remember, they will get sold because they are part of the market. They don't look good. They're not leading up, right? Especially the juniors. If the juniors break the 20-day, well, adios. AG, I think they had their earnings watching, or they had maybe, I can't remember. Whatever. Either way, we talked about this is a novice gap trap, bounce up to the 100, 200-day. Now it's backing off. AEM. All these things all look a little suspect, right? Lower, again, runs up, getting a little tired. Man, Royal Gold, did they have earnings? I mean, they must have had earnings today. Ooh, yikes. Not a good sign. Again, I've warned people over and over. During earnings, you got to be careful because miners typically get absolutely slapped around. And they get beaten up like a crash test dummy. Newmont, we've talked about lagging. Look at Newmont. Should be up in the 55s. It's not, right? pass. Same thing. Talked about it getting up into the 18, 19. It was like, boom, rejection. All right, let's get into tech because this is where it's getting real exciting, and I'm genuinely concerned for bulls. They don't see it coming. We've said AMD lagging for a while, right? Holding the 50-day, congratulations, but it's been lagging hard. Now people are like, well, who cares? Well, this is what I think it is. It's the whole good old middle finger formation. Giving you the finger. Back up to the 20-month, back up in a range, resistance, failure at some point. Micron, right? All over the place. Wide and loose cannot get over 64. We've talked about this a lot. Taiwan Semi has earnings. Again, and this is where I'm like, I don't even think their earnings were that good. Again, it's just talk. But we talked about this morning. Like, you could short it on the pop. Congratulations. I think Dwayne took this one with a hammer, hopefully. Popped up. Again, go read the guidance. It's not good. Intel, we talked about this being a lagadocious piece of crap. Rallies up to the long-term trend line. Failure. Now, why are the semis up for part of the day? LRCX had earnings. Seems okay. But they have a natural... they've done this a lot where it gaps up and flops. Scott, here you go. Congrats. I painted the picture for you. You took the trade. Dude. Smashed it. Wow. 10 points. You probably got at least... Yeah, you probably got 7 or 8 points on this one. Good work. NVIDIA. Now again, here we go. The leader. The ultimate piece of junk. And this is what's ironic. People are like, NVIDIA's not a piece of junk. The stock is. I'm telling you right now, the stock makes 0 cents. It's almost trading at like Tesla kind of valuations and thought processes when Tesla was at 400 a share. Everybody loves it. And this is where I'm telling you, folks, at the lows, everybody hates stocks. Everyone's like, no way, NVIDIA sucks. Semiconductors suck. Da-da-da. Up here, everybody loves it, and looks what happened. It's getting choppy. It's getting sloppy. Again, give yourself time. SMH, speaking of semiconductors, right? Chopping. Watch the 50-day. Trading between the 20-day and the 50-day. This is compressing, in my opinion. I think it's going to flop. That's just my opinion. Adobes. Can't get over the 0.618. Pretty simple. Apple. Now, this is another whale of a piece of junk, and this is my opinion. I mean, again, I could be wrong. Revenue is about to decelerate. They're trying to become Apple Bank. They're going to have to actually pay out 1.5% on their cash. Good luck. Good luck. If they can even borrow at that rate, right? Maybe someone's dumb enough to give them less than that, but they're not going to be some sort of bank with arbitrage. They just want people to get on their credit cards, right? Buy more Apple products. They're clearly, I mean, people don't realize, like, go look at a phone, one of those cell service carrier ads, and notice that they're just giving away iPhones. Now, it's fundamentals, who cares? But now you're up into the range highs. Everybody's bullish, sloppy, choppy, going into earnings. Good. Again, I wouldn't short it before earnings. I mean, I've got some longer term stuff, but I mean, I'm just like, earnings is, I mean, I might hedge between, I mean, I think it's next week, but just keep in mind, these names have just gone straight nuclear. And remember, a lot of people don't remember when we, oh crap, sorry, hit the wrong button. We shorted Apple up here in August, and it just went, whoosh. Keep that in mind. Amazon. Amazonian. Getting stuck. Can't get around 105s. CRM. We talked about this 200 level being resistance. Got it again. Wicking out. Guggenheim holding up pretty well, but it seems to be stuck in this, holding pattern below the 108 area. Just keep that in mind. Meta. I think this thing is about to get absolutely crapped on. Watch what happens when the 20-day breaks. And again, I'm not trying to be mean and get people all riled up. But I've said this over and over. And if you go spend any time, like, Instagram is dead. Meta stopped paying social media influencers. So there's no reason for people to post on it. And again, it's a legacy platform. Someone's always going to make something better. They're in competition with TikTok. They're in competition with YouTube. They're in competition with everybody. They are not the pillar of strength. But that's what happens when it gets oversold. We talked about novice gap traps. Goes lower and then rallies back, which, again, that's normal in a bear market, right? Like, look where it came from. 380, was it? Yeah, 383. Well, it gets all the way down to whatever that is, low down here. And it, at some point, probably will retest it. And here you go. Watch the 20-day. That's just my opinion. Microsoft, I mean, all these tech names are going to get absolutely slaughtered at some point. That money will come out of this trillions of dollars in tech that's going to go into commodities at some point. Remember, money does not die. It just rotates. Can't get over 290. NDAQ, they are really pumping that they're going to start, the NASDAQ exchange is going to start trading, like pumping crypto, and it's like, look at their earnings. Coming right back. Really wanted to see the 100, 200 cross, but coulda, woulda, shoulda, hope you would, want to see. MicroStrategy, we talked about if Bitcoin started peeling, here you go. You had this multi-day range. Once you got below it, watch the 20-day. I mean, all this stuff is starting to crack, but I seem to get trolled by bulls who are like, oh, the market, you have to just buy and hold it forever. And it's like, no, you don't understand what you're talking about. Netflix, gaps down on earnings, pops, right back, chopping. Watch the 100-day. I mean, we talked about it. If you shorted up here, congrats. Now what? Just let it play out. Roblox, we talked about. Again, they're going to stop giving guidance. That's usually not a good sign. Gaps down, and I mean, it's trying to hold up. 50-day clearly acting as the cover. Let's get into Tesla and just move quick. We've told you folks forever, this is not a buy and hold stock. It's still, I mean, again, you bought it, you had to have sold it. And now that it bounced, and again, trade it. No one's going to say don't trade it, but we've talked about, like, they're more valuable than the top 3 other car companies in the world, and they're not executing. Their revenue just fell off a cliff. We told about the game over candle. Is this a professional gap start of the move? Well, be careful. The mid 160s, if this closes below it, I mean, I've said this many times, this is a double-digit stock. And at the highs, when Solomon and a lot of folks were going, this stock was going to 250, going to the moon, I was like, you guys are smoking peyote. This thing's going nowhere, and it's chopped. And even as the market held up, look what this did. This is making lower highs and lower lows. This is not a strong-looking stock as of right now. But again, could it chop around? Could it base around? We'll see. Commodities. Nucor had earnings. The reaction, again, I thought their earnings were pretty bad. But pops up, range highs, fails. Speaking of Nucor, drew the box, said watch. We're into it. Is this a trap? Keep an eye on it. Caterpillar. Again, I like all these names long term. I'd rather own Nucor over Netflix any day for the long term. But again, I'm not going to hold when I think like the market's got weakness to come. Caterpillar, 20-day, watch it. VALE, we've said this has been crazy how bad it's been acting. You would think, and then this is why we talk about, global economy weakening. People are like, oh, this is America. I'm like, no. The rest of the world is weakening. It's just amazing how naturally the funds that went into some of the European and Chinese stocks, like people just think, oh, it's all good. It's like, okay, well, VALE, not really acting that well. It gapped down. Arrow. Now, this is the one that exception. Copper. This copper stock has been holding up. It's getting pretty wide and loose. These daily ranges are pretty big. 10% ranges a day. Well, maybe 5%, 5, 6, 7%. Either way, I like this name pulling back in time. But I wouldn't recommend shorting it. I would just watch it. CCJ, right? You don't have to short everything just because it's high. Talked about 50-day, this zone here. Blah, blah, meow, blah, blah. If you know what that is from Chappelle's show. We talked about, we like uranium, but I can't buy these names in faith. I could trade them. We talked about like trading CF, trading some of these ag names like due to bounce. Like, I love ag names. Love it. Love boring ag names that are just going to print money because you need to eat food. And as inflation comes, they're going to have valuable inputs for the longer term. And if you don't know the past, like 2004 to 2008, these things were fire. Bounce. Pulling back. Someone was trying to ask me like, hey, like, should I just sell at the 50-day? I'm like, please sell in the strength. There's no guarantee. It seemed logical, and then it didn't. And then pulls back. Mosaic. Again, things you don't see if the market's strong, right? You should be hitting the upside targets. Pulling back. They all look very similar. NTR. Love these names. Coming back. Let them come down. I don't know where their bottom is, but when the VIX spikes, you'll know. You'll know that day. AA, earnings all over the place. Pop, it's waterlogged, stuck. Love these names long-term again. XLF, mid-33s to mid-32s where we thought in here or up in here. Now it's like, you're close enough. Do we get there? Just look to the left. You've got resistance here. I think this is a gift. We talked about shorting JP Morgan. Gift. They're like, oh, you can't short that. They're getting all the deposits. Their net interest margin, because they're paying 0.1% on their savings and checking account, is not going to sustain. I'm telling you, money is moving around all over the place. This isn't going to sustain. I think this is honestly probably one of the best shorts of a lifetime. up there. And again, with a tight stop, could you be wrong? Yeah, absolutely. Morgan Stanley pops. Look at that 50, 100-day backing off. Look at that wick. Goldman Sachs. 50, 100-day cross, same kind of thing. Keep an eye on it. XBI, confusing. Hits the 200-day. I mean, there you go. Now, again, if I was shorting this, I would not be shorting it unless you got the, like, without the test, which you got, right? You got the test. And then you got the gap down. Keep an eye on it. Now, I probably wouldn't be adding here because I'd try to get the highest possible, but man, it does not look good, y'all. Good old solar. Man, if anyone knows a leveraged ETF short for solar, call me. Text me. Leave a message. Oil goes down, solar's next. Did anyone see the Treasury budget for the United States? Subsidizing solar is about to be done, in my opinion. In my opinion. And again, if oil prices come down, it's not going to make sense. But trade it. ENPH talked about shorting up here, getting the range, but just keep in mind, these have earnings, so you got to be thoughtful. Oh, man. Market looking weakness. We'll close out on the market. Sedge, same thing. You got some ranges here. First Solar, I know it's been frustrating, but that's what happens at tops and highs. Like at highs, it can only go higher. At lows, it only can go lower. That's like the sentiment, right? Like, oh, the stock is screwed. I hate life. I hate me. Oh, this thing is the best stock ever. I can't sell it. I hope it goes to the moon. And people don't realize First Solar has a history of $100 candles in bear markets. Goo. Uh-oh, is that a Doge? Big Doge on the monthly? All right, let's end it with oil, gas, rants, fun stuff. Oil, weakening. UNG, gotta buy it. Okay, all right. If that's the best trade in your arsenal of trading, maybe you need to open up your eyes. XOP warned folks to take profits. Take profits. Now you're under the 20-day retro raggy. ExxonMobil, what do we say? Watch what happens when it gets up in the 115 or 116 level. Man, it is holding on for dear life. Occidental, we've talked about this. Acting weak, Buffett's favorite name. He's probably like, let it come on down. I want to buy more. Not acting so hot, is it? Is it? PXD, we said they're going to get potentially bought out by ExxonMobil. But here's the thing about ExxonMobil. How bad are they at always seeming to buy companies at the highs? I think it's kind of part of their game with the institutions to try to manipulate the stock. All right, we'll see what happens for PX Dizzle. EQT, dropping. Again, all these names. I mean, you just got to let them breathe. Let time pass. Flex LNG, and then we'll rant for a second. Love it. Long term. Again, big choppy base. Love it in the 20s. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it in the 20s. All right, we'll end it on NVIDIA because to me, this is just the biggest pile of crap at endpoint. And people are like, why are you so negative on it? Because I've seen this formation. I've seen the idea that nothing is possible to take a stock down or a stock at a low. There's no reason to ever buy it for the love of God, ever. And then what? That's the top. That's the bottom. And a lot of people don't get that. And that's how they get trapped. And again, they start looking through the noose. They start thinking, well, it feels good to know that everyone else thinks it's strong. That's when you got to be nervous, actually. Because there's no one left to buy if everybody's all in all at the highs or giving up at the lows. Because again, that's what the market makers are going to do. Remember, the game is meant to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people. So the goal is to do what? It's to get and manipulate people's emotions, to buy high and never sell until the lows. And then at the lows, they have no desire to buy. They're so scared. And so NVIDIA is in that playing that game. And that's where I've been telling people, like people are like, oh, anticipate the market going higher. And it's like, you're seeing some of the leadership get stuck. You're seeing laggards lag. Tesla, Netflix, right? Amazon, Google. I mean, these names have just gone nowhere. AMD going nowhere, right? Certain material names going nowhere. Oil, gas trying to pop, flop. Material name. I mean, again, we can talk about this forever and continue going on. But please just be aware, like, if you're trading, have time. And I say this all the time. If your account is $100,000, the max you should ever do with options is $10,000. Because just pretend at some point, because you don't know, you will be wrong, you could blow out an options account. And if it is 100% of your net worth or your trading, you're screwed. So that's why I tell people, have two accounts, a cash account, an options account. And the options account, the risk is just going to be hard sometimes. You're going to have to define your risk. You're going to take bigger losses because sometimes you can't control the news. And sometimes the hardest part, time. If you look at this NVIDIA chart, you may have thought, man, this was again, this is my mind too. I thought this was the short right here. Just chops, goes a little higher, chops, goes a little higher, congest. That happens. And so if you had options and you didn't trade around it or you just didn't define your risk, you could be down huge on them praying for a Hail Mary. And again, hopefully it hits if you have time. But if you only gave yourself, say, till tomorrow, ouchie sauce. Ouch. All right. If you have any questions, please reach out. Please, again, check out the www.thetradingagent.com. I don't know why I can always say that wrong. Good resources on there. Please like, subscribe, don't forget. Please share. Again, I appreciate it because I know there's people out there struggling, and every day I get good feedback like, hey, thank you for making me aware of evidence. I get so tunnel vision in watching the daily or the 10-minute chart, and I lose perspective of what's going on in the world, or I only look at a few sectors and a few stocks, and it's like, hey, everyone starts in the same place. We all suck at trading when we start. Now, if you get lucky and you win a bunch at the beginning, oh man, that's like the kiss of death because then you think you're really good at it versus just lucky. So again, reach out. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the love, support, and the donations. Always appreciated. And let's keep it going. Talk to you guys and gals tomorrow. Happy, I guess, Earth Day, right? Isn't this Earth Day? No, that's the 22nd. I guess 420. All the stoners are going to be celebrating. Be careful out there. You might be a bunch of slow drivers and no. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.